dealer Mike Brewer and mechanic Edd China. Together, they created magic with Wheeler Dealers.
In 2017, one of the most beloved duos in automotive television suddenly split. Edd China announced he was leaving Wheeler Dealers after 13 seasons, sending shockwaves through a loyal global audience. What really led to Edd's dramatic exit from one of the most popular car shows on TV? Join us as we look into the untold story of Edd China, Mike Brewer, and what actually happened behind the scenes. The birth of a hit show. In 2003, Wheeler Dealers made its debut on British television and quickly found its place in the hearts of car lovers everywhere. The show was created by Attaboy TV, a production company that saw a unique opportunity to combine entertainment with hands-on education. Instead of just showcasing beautiful classic cars or fast races like many other automotive programs, Wheeler Dealers introduced something refreshingly real. It focused on buying older, often worn-out cars, fixing them up and selling them again, ideally for a profit. This idea was simple, but it had something that made it stand out from the rest. The show's format was built around a three-step process: buy, restore, and sell. Each episode began with a hunt for a car that had potential. The goal was to find a vehicle that needed work, but could become valuable again with some effort. After finding and buying the car, the next step was the restoration. This is where the real heart of the show came in. Viewers got to see what it really takes to bring a car back to life, from fixing engines and suspension to repairing interiors and giving the body a fresh coat of paint. Once the restoration was done, the car was put back on the market. The final part of the episode focused on selling it, showing whether the team made a profit and giving a sense of closure to the whole journey. What made Wheeler Dealers even more enjoyable was the strong contrast and chemistry between the two original hosts, Mike Brewer and Edd China. Mike Brewer was the face of the deal. With his lively personality and deep knowledge of the car market, he was the one who found the cars and negotiated the purchases. He was confident, talkative, and always excited about finding a good deal. Edd China, on the other hand, was the calm and thoughtful mechanic. He wasn't just fixing cars. He was teaching the audience how things worked. Edd had a real talent for explaining complex mechanical jobs in a simple, understandable way. His work in the garage was methodical and focused, and he always made sure that things were done properly, even if it took more time or money. From the very beginning, audiences responded strongly to Wheeler Dealers. People liked that the show didn't just gloss over the hard parts of restoration. It was honest and educational. Watching Edd tear down engines or troubleshoot electrical systems gave people the confidence to try their own car projects. Mike's enthusiasm and tips on buying smart also helped viewers understand the business side of things. And the best part was, you didn't need to be a mechanic or a car trader to enjoy it. Whether you were a gearhead or just someone who liked watching people bring old things back to life, the show had something for you. The early success of Wheeler Dealers came from this balance. It mixed real mechanical work with relatable stories, and it didn't try too hard to be flashy. That's what made it feel authentic. It wasn't about showing off, it was about showing what was possible. People from around the world tuned in not just to see cool cars, but to learn and feel inspired. Mike Brewer's journey. Before Wheeler Dealers became the hit show we know today, it was built on the shoulders of two very different but equally talented men, Mike Brewer and Edd China. Their skills, personalities, and life experiences shaped the heart of the series and helped turn it into something far more than just a car show. To really understand what made Wheeler Dealers so special, it's important to get to know the men behind the magic. Mike Brewer was born on August 28, 1964, in London, England. He grew up in a household where cars were more than just a way to get around. They were a way of life. His father, Roger Brewer, was a car dealer, and from a young age, Mike was surrounded by the business of buying and selling vehicles. That early exposure sparked a passion in him. He developed a sharp eye for spotting good deals and understanding what made a car valuable. More importantly, Mike loved talking about cars. He had a natural talent for explaining what made certain vehicles special and could get almost anyone excited about a car, even if they weren't usually interested in them. As he got older, Mike followed in his father's footsteps and became a car trader. But it didn't take long for people to notice that he wasn't just good at buying and selling. He had a great on-screen presence, too. That's when his television career began to take shape. Mike started appearing on car-related TV programs in the UK, including Driven and Pulling Power. These shows gave him a platform to share his automotive knowledge with a wider audience. His enthusiasm, quick thinking, and lively personality made him stand out. Viewers found him relatable and fun to watch. By the time Wheeler Dealers came around in 2003, Mike had already built a name for himself in the world of motoring TV. On the show, his main role was to find cars that needed restoring. He would search the market, look for interesting models with potential, and then go out to inspect them. Viewers got to watch him negotiate prices with sellers, explain the risks and rewards of each purchase, and sometimes even spot hidden problems that could affect the final value. After the car was bought and restored, Mike was also in charge of selling it again. He had to make sure they turned a profit, or at least broke even. His business sense and communication skills helped guide the financial side of each project. But more than that, Mike brought energy and charm to the show. He kept things moving, and his excitement was always real. Edd China's story. On the other side of the workshop was Edd China, a very different kind of personality, but just as important to the success of the show. Edd was born on May 9, 1971, also in London. Unlike Mike, Edd's interests were more focused on how things worked. From a young age, he loved building, fixing, and inventing things. This curiosity about machines and how they fit together led him to study engineering product design at London South Bank University. While he was in school, Edd started creating unusual and eye-catching inventions that combined creativity with technical skill. One of these inventions would end up getting him worldwide attention. Edd's most famous creation outside of Wheeler Dealers was the casual loafer, a motorized sofa. Yes, a real, drivable sofa. This quirky piece of furniture wasn't just for fun, it was a working vehicle complete with brakes, steering, suspension, and lights. Edd even drove it on public roads. In 2007, he set a Guinness World Record for the fastest piece of furniture when he took the casual loafer up to 87 miles per hour on a racetrack. This wasn't just a silly stunt. It was a perfect example of who Edd was. Someone who loved engineering, wasn't afraid to be different, and had the skills to back it all up. Edd's role on Wheeler Dealers was focused on the restoration work. Once Mike bought a car and brought it to the workshop, Edd got to work diagnosing problems, sourcing parts, and making all the necessary repairs. But what made Edd stand out wasn't just his technical ability, it was how he approached his work. He didn't rush through jobs or cut corners. Edd believed in doing things properly. If a repair required extra time or money, he'd still do it the right way. He also made sure viewers could follow along. His explanations were clear and detailed, even when he was working on complex systems like engines or gearboxes. Edd wanted people to learn, not just watch. That teaching spirit is what connected him with so many fans. Edd's calm, measured personality was a strong contrast to Mike's energetic style, and that balance was part of what made the show work so well. Where Mike brought speed and negotiation, Edd brought patience and precision. They respected each other's roles and trusted each other's judgment. Together, they covered every angle of the car restoration process. Viewers could see how a good partnership could turn even a broken-down car into something valuable again. The show didn't glamorize the work or pretend it was easy. Thanks to Edd's honest and thorough method, people got a realistic view of what goes into car restoration. He wasn't afraid to get dirty or spend a whole segment focusing on a single tricky repair. That's what made him so believable. Fans felt like they could trust him because he wasn't trying to impress them. He just wanted to share what he knew. Even though their backgrounds were different, Mike and Edd shared one important thing: a deep love for cars and the stories they carried. Whether it was a vintage British saloon or a rugged American pickup, they treated each project with care and respect. This passion came through in every episode, and it's one of the biggest reasons the show found success all over the world. Why the show worked so well. There's a reason Wheeler Dealers became one of the most loved car shows in the world. It wasn't just about fixing up old cars and selling them. It worked so well because it offered a clear mix of real education, practical advice, and genuine passion. Whether you were a hardcore car enthusiast or someone who just stumbled across the show while flipping channels, there was something there for you. The show made complicated car restorations feel understandable, approachable, and even fun. It didn't just show results, it showed the process step by step in a way that made viewers feel included. One of the most important reasons the show succeeded was its educational content. Car restoration can be very technical, and many people are intimidated by the idea of fixing up an engine or repairing a suspension. But Wheeler Dealers did something different. It slowed everything down and explained what was happening in simple terms. Edd China was especially good at this. During his workshop segments, he broke down each part of the process, showing which tools he was using, what each part did, and why the repair was necessary. He didn't just skim over the details. He explained them in a way that viewers could understand, even if they had no experience with cars. This approach helped take away the mystery around car mechanics. People learned that with patience, research, and the right tools, they could actually try fixing things themselves. Alongside the educational value, the show gave loads of practical advice. Every episode walked through the full journey of buying, repairing, and selling a used vehicle. This meant viewers got to see everything, from how Mike Brewer found the car to how much it cost to where he looked for spare parts and how much the repairs added up to. These weren't just fancy restorations with endless budgets. The team often worked within tight financial limits, just like most people at home would. What also helped Wheeler Dealers stand out was the way it connected with people. It didn't feel like just a TV show. It started to feel like a community. Fans began sharing their own restoration projects online, discussing tools, parts, and techniques they had seen on the show. Forums, social media pages, and even local car clubs started using ideas inspired by the series. For many viewers, Wheeler Dealers wasn't just entertainment, it gave them the confidence to try fixing something themselves. The impact went beyond TV screens. It helped kickstart a real movement of DIY car restoration, where regular people got involved in bringing old vehicles back to life. The success of Wheeler Dealers wasn't about big drama or flashy effects. It was about knowledge, trust, and passion. Viewers tuned in not just to watch cars get fixed, but to learn, to feel inspired, and to be part of something bigger. The format was simple, but the value it gave people was real. Cracks beneath the surface. As Wheeler Dealers continued to grow in popularity, the pressure behind the scenes also started to build. For years, the show followed a steady and successful formula. Mike Brewer would buy a car, Edd China would fix it, and then it would be sold for a profit. Fans loved the clear format and the real hands-on approach. But as the show reached more countries and attracted a wider audience, expectations changed. The production team had to meet tighter deadlines, deliver more exciting content, and keep viewers coming back with every new season. What had started as a simple and educational show began to feel more like a high-pressure job for those working on it. One of the biggest challenges came from the increasing complexity of the cars being restored. In the early seasons, most of the vehicles featured on the show were relatively simple to work on, classic cars with straightforward problems. As time went on, though, the team began tackling more advanced restorations. This meant more time was needed in the workshop, more money was spent on parts, and the repairs became harder to explain in the limited time available on screen. For Edd, who always aimed to show every step of the process in detail, this was especially difficult. He didn't want to skip over important work or simplify things just to fit into a shorter segment. But the demands of production made it harder and harder to maintain that level of depth. At the same time, fans started to notice something different in the tone of the show. While Mike and Edd still worked well together on camera, some viewers picked up on moments that felt slightly off. The natural flow between the two hosts didn't always feel as smooth as it once had. There were small signs, maybe a missed joke or a bit of awkwardness that made people wonder if something was happening behind the scenes. Online discussions began to pop up with fans sharing their thoughts, and rumors slowly started to build. Around this time, the creative direction of the show also started to shift. Originally, Wheeler Dealers was all about the nuts and bolts. It showed real car repairs, took the time to explain things properly, and stayed grounded in practical knowledge. But as television trends changed and the show reached a global market, The producers began looking for ways to make it more entertaining to a broader audience. This meant adding faster edits, flashier visuals, and trimming down the long, detailed mechanical segments that Edd was known for. The focus began to lean more towards storytelling and quick turnarounds, instead of the educational, step-by-step repairs that had built the show's loyal fan base. Behind the scenes, this change caused real tension. Edd had a clear vision for the kind of show he wanted to be part of. He believed in showing proper repairs, taking the time to explain everything and doing things the right way, even if it took longer. But the production team had different goals. They needed episodes finished on schedule, budgets under control, and content that would keep fast-moving viewers engaged. This difference in vision became harder to manage as time went on. What had once been a shared passion project started to feel like a tug-of-war between two different ideas of what the show should be. The result of all this was growing friction, not just between Edd and the producers, but also between passion and practicality. Edd wasn't willing to compromise the quality and depth of his work for the sake of speed or entertainment. And even though Mike continued to bring his energy and expertise to the buying and selling side, the overall direction of the show was beginning to pull away from what had made it special in the first place. These cracks were subtle at first, but they eventually grew too large to ignore. What came next took everyone by surprise, including the fans who had watched since day one: the shocking exit. In 2017, fans of Wheeler Dealers were stunned when Edd China announced he would be leaving the show. After more than a decade of watching him repair cars with patience, skill, and a calm voice that made even the most complicated mechanical jobs seem understandable, many viewers felt like they were losing a key part of what made the show special. The news spread quickly across social media, car forums, and news outlets. It wasn't just another cast change on a TV show. It felt personal to the fans. For years, they had welcomed Edd into their homes as he explained how to fix engines, brakes, and bodywork. His exit felt like the end of an era. Edd didn't leave quietly. Shortly after the announcement, he posted a video on YouTube explaining his reasons for stepping away. He spoke directly to his audience in the same straightforward and honest way they had come to expect from him. Edd said that changes in the show's production were the main reason behind his decision. According to him, the producers wanted to reduce the time spent on the in-depth mechanical work that had always been his focus. The goal, it seemed, was to make the show faster-paced and more focused on entertainment rather than education. Edd felt this would compromise the integrity of the show and make it harder for him to do the kind of detailed explanations that viewers had come to love. Edd explained that he had always believed in doing things properly and showing every step of the process. Skipping over important work or simplifying repairs just to save time didn't sit right with him. He believed that viewers deserved the full picture, even if that meant a longer or more technical segment. When it became clear that this direction no longer matched the vision of the production team, Edd decided it was time to walk away. He made it clear that it wasn't a decision he took lightly, but one he made because he wanted to stay true to his values. Mike Brewer also responded to the news, and it was clear that he was deeply affected by Edd's departure. In interviews and social media posts, Mike expressed both sadness and surprise. He talked about the long journey they had shared, from the very first episode in 2003 to building a show that became a favorite for car lovers around the world. Mike said he was disappointed, not just because Edd was leaving, but because of how it happened. He felt hurt that Edd didn't talk to him directly about the decision before going public. Still, Mike made sure to thank Edd for everything they had done together and said he wished him well in whatever came next. The reaction from the public was huge and emotional. Fans quickly took sides. Many were strongly in support of Edd, agreeing with his reasons and praising him for sticking to his principles. They flooded social media with messages of support and thanked him for the years of knowledge and entertainment he had given them. Some fans were angry at the show's producers and blamed them for forcing Edd out. Others directed their frustration at Mike, unfairly accusing him of being part of the reason Edd left. Mike later revealed that he and his family received online abuse and threats, which was deeply upsetting for him. It became clear that the departure had caused a deep rift in the fan base. Despite the tension, both Edd and Mike tried to calm things down. They each released more statements to thank fans and to ask for understanding. They both made it clear that, while they had differences, they still respected each other and valued the years they worked together. Over time, the noise around the exit started to quiet down, but the impact it had on the audience was long-lasting. Many fans said the show never felt quite the same without Edd, even though new mechanics would later bring their own skills and energy to the series. Edd went on to start his own YouTube channel, Edd China's Garage Revival, where he continued to work on cars and share his mechanical knowledge in the way he preferred: slow, thorough, and detailed. Mike continued on Wheeler Dealers with new co-hosts, adapting to the changes while trying to keep the heart of the show alive. Both men found new paths, but their time together left a mark that fans will never forget. Things definitely changed after Edd's exit, but the journey of Wheeler Dealers was far from over, and the show still had surprises in store. Edd China's next chapter. After Edd China left Wheeler Dealers in 2017, many fans were curious to see what he would do next. He had built a strong reputation for being one of the most trusted and skilled mechanics on television, and people hoped he wouldn't disappear from the spotlight completely. Thankfully, Edd didn't stay quiet for long. Instead of jumping into another TV network deal, he took a different path that gave him full creative control: YouTube. Edd launched a new series called Edd China's Garage Revival. It was a project that allowed him to return to what he loved most: working on cars in a calm, detailed, and educational way. The show followed Edd as he visited fans who had unfinished restoration projects sitting in their garages. He would come in, assess the situation, and help them get the vehicle running again. It wasn't about flashy editing or dramatic reveals. It was about helping people, sharing knowledge, and keeping the spirit of classic car restoration alive. What made Garage Revival special was how true it stayed to Edd's original values. He didn't rush through repairs or skip important steps just for the sake of quick entertainment. Every episode focused on real issues that people face when working on cars at home, things like seized bolts, rusted parts, and forgotten wiring. Edd patiently explained each process, offering helpful tips along the way. His viewers, many of whom had followed him for years, appreciated this approach deeply. They felt like he was still their teacher, just in a slightly different setting. The fan response was overwhelmingly positive. While Wheeler Dealers continued on TV with a new mechanic, a large portion of the audience followed Edd to YouTube. His subscribers praised him for sticking to his roots and not compromising on quality. The comments on his videos were filled with messages of support and gratitude. People felt that, even outside of the big production world, Edd was still doing what he did best: educating, fixing, and inspiring. Mike Brewer and the show's evolution. On the other side of the split, Mike Brewer had a big decision to make. Wheeler Dealers was still going strong, and Discovery Channel wasn't ready to end the show. That meant finding someone new to step into the mechanic's role. The replacement needed to be skilled, confident on camera, and ready to build chemistry with Mike. In 2017, the show introduced Ant Anstead as the new co-host. Ant brought a different kind of energy to the series. With a background in building custom cars and a career in automotive design, he had a creative and more modern approach to restoration. While Edd focused heavily on technical accuracy and traditional methods, Ant was known for blending restoration with clever upgrades and design improvements. His work was still high quality, but the style felt a little faster and more hands-on. He was also more physically active on screen, often showing viewers how to fabricate parts or use newer tools and technologies. Ant and Mike quickly found a rhythm. The new episodes kept the same basic format: buy a car, fix it up, and sell it. But there was a new kind of energy between the hosts. The conversations were more relaxed, and the pace of the restorations was quicker. Some longtime fans missed the slower, more detailed explanations that Edd had provided, but many new viewers liked the fresh feel of the show. It appealed to a broader audience, including younger car enthusiasts who liked seeing creativity mixed with mechanics. Ant stayed with the show until 2020, when he moved on to other television projects. Once again, Wheeler Dealers faced another change, and once again, Mike had to find a new partner. This time, the team brought in Mark Elvis Priestley, a former McLaren Formula One mechanic with years of experience working on high-performance machines. Mark's background was more technical and precise, shaped by his time in the fast-paced world of Formula One racing. Mark brought something unique to Wheeler Dealers. His calm but confident presence reminded some fans of Edd, but with a different twist. Mark was very focused on performance, precision, and working efficiently under pressure, skills he developed during race day operations with McLaren. When he stepped into the workshop, he explained things clearly but always with a view toward performance improvement and reliability. This made his restoration work detailed but also purposeful and sharp. Together, Mike and Mark found a comfortable balance. Mike continued to focus on hunting for good deals, navigating negotiations, and talking through the economics of each restoration. Mark handled the mechanical side, offering viewers both smart repairs and helpful insights. Over time, fans adjusted to the new pairing, and the show kept moving forward. It never tried to replace what Mike and Edd had. Instead, it evolved with the times while still keeping the spirit of car restoration at its core. The show remained committed to bringing old cars back to life, showing viewers the challenges and rewards of restoration, and celebrating automotive history. It may have changed faces and styles along the way, but the core mission of making cars better and helping people learn never disappeared. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories from the world of cars in Hollywood. Got your own thoughts on the split? Drop a comment below.